Made with picture. Made with picture.
Hey, hello. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Airbnb Real Estate Investing. I'm going to go ahead and make this document a little bit bigger here. Let's see if this is too much. No. Okay, so on the last video, which was, unfortunately, I apologize, 2 weeks ago, I really tried to post a video every week, and so missed that goal last week, and now back on track today. So in today's video, we're going to go over the second half of different ways to actually Airbnb or short-term rental a property. Okay, in the last video, we went over home ownership. Okay, and that was the main subject. All of these here, different ways to do a property. Put your property up as a short-term rental via Airbnb, vrbo, so on and so forth. Now, today what we're going to go over is rental arbitrage. So, again, home ownership is just, exactly, what it sounds like. That is when you actually own the home, own the property, which I'm very fond of because I love owning real estate. Taking advantage of equity growth and tax benefits and depreciation and that sort of thing. Now, rental arbitrage, however, the pros and the cons between the two, we did make a video on a little while back, but home ownership is obviously more expensive typically. All right, especially if you're going to do it in an area that should create some pretty good profit. So but yeah, I mean, you're looking at on $100,000 house. If you were not living there, you've got to put down approximately 20%. I've heard there are vacation rental loans where you can only put down 10%. I tried to get one. I wasn't able to find anyone that would be willing to do that. However, they are supposed to be a thing that is a vacation rental loan. Okay, that's kind of the sort of, if you actually start talking to mortgage brokers, loan officers, they should recognize this term. Not all of them maybe, but definitely some of them. Now, rental arbitrage, this is much more inexpensive, but back here on a $100,000 house, you can be putting down $20,000, okay, and then another 5 to 10 to set it up. If it needs any work, then you have to add that in there as well, right? So rental arbitrage, you need to pay typically first month's, last month's, and a deposit, okay, security deposit, or or some variation of first month security deposit, that sort of thing. Now, and then the fees to set it up, or the cost to set it up, I should say, really. So again, $5,000 to $10,000 to set it up. You can, and it could be, I mean, if it's a one-bedroom apartment, for example, maybe it's $2,000, right? You can, it doesn't have to be that expensive. And now we're talking really the $5,000 to $10,000 number is a 3-bed, 2-bath. Okay, you can even do some 4-2, that sort of thing, but it's in that neighborhood. Okay, now what I recommend with rental arbitrage, okay, so let me take a step back. So you're talking, let's say, on a house that's $1,000 a month, you've got to pay $1,000 for first, $1,000 for last, and then $500 security deposit, or we'll say $1,000. Okay, so just to be a little bit on the safer side, $3,000 plus that additional will go at $10,000 because let's hope that maybe your property, if you're starting again, you can remember that you can be renting a property for $500 and not just adjust the numbers, but $1,000 in some areas, you can be renting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment or house. Now, the size of the home, the size of the apartment does play into effect some other issues. One thing you're going to want to keep in mind is that if you do have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, you're going to have more people staying there, and then now you got to deal with making sure that they're not throwing parties, that sort of thing. Where if it's a small studio apartment or 1-bedroom apartment, you probably just have typically a couple, or what I mean, and so, or maybe a couple in their family if it's got multiple beds, that sort of thing. So like a family of 4. So it's a less sort of scenario of hopefully less issues. Okay. So we've got 1,000 first month, 1,000 last month, and 1,000 direct deposit plus your 10, so that's 13 versus on the home ownership we're talking about 30. Okay, so really down here we're looking probably more like in the range of 7 on the high. Okay, so it's a much different, much easier way to get into it. You don't have to jump through all the hoops of getting the loan and closing on the property and all that fun stuff, the negotiation back and forth. There is negotiation involved in home ownership, and there's negotiation involved in rental arbitrage. Okay, so rental arbitrage, you're going to approach a landlord in maybe an apartment complex. First you're going to analyze the deal, which we're going to go over later. We're going to use a tool called AirDNA and Airbnb, okay, to analyze the deal, see if it is worth your time and money to pursue this property. Okay, so you're going to find a landlord and you're going to talk to them, and we're going to go into scripts and more of a better way to do this in more detail later. This is just a 30,000 foot view. Okay, so you're going to talk to a landlord and convince them to let you rent their house, property, apartment, whatever, and you're going to then put it up on Airbnb, vrbo, so on and so forth. Now what I recommend, and what a lot of people will recommend, is you start right in your backyard, as long as your backyard is profitable. So what you'll hear, and this is what I would recommend, is anywhere from at least and it could depend. It could be a area with a small population but is very sought after for vacation sort of scenario. Excuse me, that works. That's great. It works great in different areas. So you just got to spend a little bit of time researching your market and analyzing your deal, and we'll go over that later. But if your backyard is a city that has at least 100,000 people or more, might be a good place to start. At least analyze there, the deals there. Okay, so you can do it in your backyard. You can also do it long distance. This is more difficult, but you can do it. You can do it anywhere in the U.S. as long as the regulations don't block you. And so again, there's regulations, and you've got to look into that, okay? Because every city and every county is different. Some are way more lax, and some are very, I would just say, tough. So you're going to figure out, I would recommend first look in your backyard. If that doesn't work, then you can look here. But if it does work, you're going to want to start in your backyard, close to the property, within 60 miles, okay? Partner with the landlord. Now, let's say a landlord and they're trying to rent their house, or you just talk to the landlord and you say, hey, I want to basically partner with you on your property, and here's how. We're going to throw the property up on Airbnb. We're going to short-term rental it. I'm going to manage it, and we'll split the profits. That way, and you also tell them, hey, you are going to actually furnish it as well. Maybe you can talk them into splitting the cost of the furnishing. But that way, you're not spending $1,000 a month or whatever the rent is. Okay, and while you are actually in the process of, talking to the landlords, you're going to want to do your best to negotiate discounts. Now, this is something that is going to be a lot easier and make more sense to do after you have a few properties, especially if you have multiple, apartments in an apartment complex already, and then you're looking to get a few more in that same apartment complex, but you already have a track record with the owner of the property. This is going to be easier to do at that point in time. It's also going to be easier to do later down the road after you have more experience, but of course you can always try it, and we'll go into that in more detail later as well. That's basically it for the video. This is just the second half of the different ways that you can short-term rental a property. And so outside of that, I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you like the video, please like it. Let me know if you're looking to get into short-term rentals, which way that you think you want to go, and you know, do you want to go rental arbitrage or you want to go home ownership. As always, if you have any questions, please just leave a comment and I will answer it. Please subscribe to my channel. I will continue. This content is going to be the best, you know, short-term rental course from A to Z. We're not going to skip over anything, and you know, the many ins and outs and many details, and this is all going to be for free. Okay, so please subscribe for more future content, and outside of that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching today's video.
Made with